My name is Russell Duperre. I'm the vice chair. I'll be running the meeting tonight. Michelle Grotsky's here via remote participation. She's usually the chairperson of the school committee. What that means is that all votes taken by the committee tonight would be by roll call vote. Whenever you have somebody by remote participation, that's how you do it. So I call the meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. Welcome to the Wednesday, February 14th, 2018 meeting of the Long Meadow School Committee. The meeting is being recorded and aired live by LCTV, as well as being live streamed on longmeadow.org. It is a legal requirement for anyone else to disclose if they are recording the meeting. Is anybody recording today?
TV 22.
Thank you.
Western Mass, I'm sorry. Springfield Republican
Thank you.
and Western Mass News.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, thanks. If you could join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before we start, we do have an overflow room today. Obviously, we have a lot of people here as well. We need to make sure that everybody can hear and see what's proceeding. And so I want to make sure that in that other room that everybody is hearing everything we say, including all the way in the back row. So do we have somebody that could go check that? Somebody not on the committee.
Somebody go to the BTC and see if they can.
Yeah, someone volunteered.
Okay. So I just want to make sure everybody hears and can participate. We also have visitor comment sign-up sheets, so everybody on this list will be given the opportunity to speak. It's, according to our policy, it's 3 minutes per person. Most people don't actually speak that long, but you have the right to speak up to 3 minutes. So I just want to wait until he comes back and then we can start. Good to go? Okay. So we just have a couple of procedural things that we do in the beginning of the meetings. We're going to do those very quickly, and then we'll get right to the public comment. I think Marty and I have a couple things we want to say before we start the public comment as well. So, Melanie, if you could go through the correspondence.
So we have a couple of correspondence. We have an email letter from Miss Amy Davis dated January 24, 2018, in support of building a culture and environment of safety and well-being for LPS students. Then we have an email letter dated February 1, 2018, from Mr. Donald Jarvis at the Lower Pioneer Valley Career and Technical Education Center regarding the Student of the Month for January 2018. The Long Meadow students honored are Michael Wislow. Thank you. Information Support Services and Network 1, Kevin Gonzalez. Information Support Services and Networking 2, and Connor Wilson, LPVEC, Brush Hill Academy. Next, we have a letter from the administrative team, Mr. Thomas Mazza, Mrs. Sue Bertrand, Ms. Jean Fontaine, Mr. Nicholas George, Mr. Thomas Landers, Ms. Nicole Allen, Dr. Neil Guile, Ms. Donna Hutton, Ms. Amy Bastian, and Dr. Elizabeth Nelson, dated February 6, 2017. That should be 18, I'm assuming. Expressing their concern regarding recent executive sessions of the school committee and requesting a meeting with the committee. And lastly, we have an email letter from Ms. Nancy Mueller, dated February 6, 2018, regarding homeschooling and participation in athletics. And that's it for correspondences.
Thank you. We also received a number of other emails, and the way it works for these meetings is that if they're not in by a certain date, they go into the next round of meetings. So those would be read at the next meeting. Because of the number of emails, we'd have to figure out how we actually do that, but so that'll happen next time. Approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes that we need to approve. Or 3 sets, I guess.
Okay, I move that the school committee approve the minutes to the January 16, 2018 special joint meeting with the select board as presented.
Second.
Next, I move that the school committee approve the minutes to the
Well, we
January...
have to vote on
I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah, we need to do it by roll call vote, so if we could start
Karen
with
Moore and
Karen.
I.
Jess Hutchins abstain.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle?
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Baron, aye.
Pradvi Sivakumar, aye.
Excellent.
No, we have two other ones. Next, I move that the school committee approve the minutes to the January 24, 2018 school committee meeting as presented.
Second.
And the roll call.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle?
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Baron, aye.
Pradvi Sivakumar, aye.
And lastly, I move that the school committee approve the minutes to the January 31, 2017 special school committee meeting and public hearing on the FY19 budget as presented.
Second.
Karen Moore and I.
Excuse me, the year's wrong,
Okay, thank
so
you.
if we could correct the year.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want us to reread it, or are you okay with that? Okay.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle?
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Baron, aye.
Pradvi Sivakumar, aye.
Okay, so next on our agenda is visitor comments, but as I said earlier, I'd like to allow Superintendent O'Shea to speak briefly, and then I'd like to speak briefly, and then we'll open it up to the public.
Thank you. So I really appreciate the chance to start tonight's conversation, and obviously there's been a great deal of attention in the community regarding my contract, and a few things I'd want to emphasize as we start the conversation tonight. I think throughout this episode, I'd want to emphasize that the school committee and I have shared an understanding of how critically important a productive relationship between the superintendent and the school committee is. That's never been in doubt for me. That's important to the community, to the staff, and obviously most importantly to the students. And I'd also want to emphasize that I think we share a common commitment to the students of this district. And I wouldn't want anyone in this room to doubt that, we share a passion for the growth and development of the great students of Longmeadow. And we understand what's entrusted to us, and we take that very seriously together. So tonight, the reason that I'd like to start the conversation is I'd like to ask the committee for an opportunity at some point in the near future to give me a chance to acknowledge and address the genuine concerns that they may have individually or collectively. That's always been important to me, to engage in those conversations that push us forward as a team of leaders. And if the committee is amenable to this, I'm confident and I'm optimistic that we can move forward. And most importantly, I'm confident that we can do it in a way that doesn't distract us from the incredibly important work that we do collectively. The other thing I'd like to mention that, I think in this room, we've always tried to engage with a high level of civility and a trust that we're all here for a common purpose, the students of Longmeadow. So I appreciate the chance to start the conversation tonight.
Thank you. So I also want to mention with the emails we received, and we did get a lot, and I'm just going to speak from my own perspective. I did respond to a number of them initially. I think that I would have liked to respond to all of them, but it just wasn't possible between work and speaking with Marty and trying to get all the things we need to get done. So it's not that I'm ignoring people, it just physically wasn't possible for me to really respond to everybody. But I do appreciate the input, and usually I read every email I get. It's just, and I think it's probably true of a lot of the committee, it's just, there was only a certain amount of time before this meeting, and we got a lot all at once. So I just want you to know that we weren't ignoring those emails. The other thing I want to say, though, is I know there was some chatter online and social media and that type of thing, so I just want to be clear about where we actually are so that it's not, there's a lot of rumors and what's happened so far and that type of thing. So what did not happen so far is that there is no, the committee did not take a vote to terminate Superintendent O'Shea. That hasn't happened. The committee has discussed doing his evaluation and doing that, relatively soon. And we did receive a letter from Marty indicating that he would resign. That was back on February 8th. Now, I think, where that all went and how it all happened was executive session, and it had to be. So unless Marty wanted to do it in open session, it really couldn't happen that way. But I'm not sure, I think when you submitted the resignation, I'm not sure that there was a lot of conversation back and forth, but some of that may have been talking past each other potentially. So I'm not sure if you want to say anything beyond that, but.
Yeah, I think obviously when you get involved in these conversations, they're difficult, they're trying, and frankly, attorneys involved in things can potentially get lost in translation. And I guess tonight, I'd like the committee to consider, and perhaps it can't happen tonight, but I'd like the committee to consider if there is another way forward other than the resignation, based on my understanding of where we are today as a group. And I'm hoping that the committee will take that under consideration. And again, I understand that possibly can't be discussed directly tonight, but that would be my hope.
Yeah. Well, you are correct. It couldn't happen tonight because so the agenda doesn't have. It initially had some topics that would have allowed for some more discussion, probably, but those executive sessions were taken off the agenda. So at this point, we actually don't have something where we could do that. And it's also a discussion that would have to happen among the whole committee and the superintendent if we chose to go that route. But I guess I want to reiterate again that I think where the community thought we might have been and where maybe we all thought we were seems to be two different things. So I guess the message is we're still having a conversation about some issues. I think they're issues that need to be addressed between both of us, and I think that's something the committee is going to have to decide with the superintendent. Unfortunately, tonight isn't going to be able to be the night where that happens. And how we structure it will have to be, figured out with our attorneys on both sides, or perhaps not. Perhaps it'll just be done directly with us.
Yeah, I think my preference would be to, have that authentic, genuine conversation and really not do it with attorneys if at all possible.
I would talk to the rest of the committee, but would probably be my preference as well. So why don't we jump into the public comment, and then there will also be school committee comment after that, and then we'll get to the rest of our agenda. So the first one on the list is Donna Hutton, principal at Center School. And by the way, not Donna, but other people that are from the school system or from the town would have to state their name and their address when they come up. Hi, Donna.
I'm fighting a cold, like so many of us, so please bear with me. To the Long Meadow School Committee members and the Long Meadow community, as stated in our correspondence sent to the committee on February 6, 2018, the administrative team noticed 3 executive sessions posted to discuss Superintendent Marty O'Shea's contract. Given that this is highly unusual 1 year in advance of the end date for his contract, we are unitedly concerned and unsettled. We feel it is important to also state that we are stunned. This statement serves to address our goal to respectfully communicate our collective thoughts to the full committee as we requested. School leadership is not an easy endeavor. We begin here because the challenges of leadership are balanced by our deep privilege and joy to serve the community. Our actions and decisions as your school leaders are thoughtfully and intuitively framed by how we want the children in our care to define us as leaders and as role models. What are our hopes and dreams for children? Who will they be as citizens? Do they see our humanity in our actions and our words? Thinking in this way compels us to express to you our insights about Marty O'Shea. We would expect nothing less of our students in similar circumstances. Successful organizations like the Longmeadow Public Schools demand excellence in leadership. In Marty, we have discovered not just a commitment to excellence in all his endeavors, but excellence as a habit of mind. Because he not only works hard, but thinks hard and reflectively, our administrative team experiences newfound successes and purpose with Marty's leadership. The formation of the District Improvement Plan was the most comprehensive strategic endeavor in our district's history, incorporating the vision of all stakeholders. The process itself is noteworthy considering the way Marty led with a goal to balance reach with realism. The balance realized in the plan is an impressive accomplishment when considering truly effective educational goal setting. The plan provides a clearly articulated vision and path forward for the next 3 years and likely beyond. Before Marty joined our district, our administrative team yearned for a leader who would move us forward together. Marty has proven to be that leader. We continue to be in awe of his gift to ask questions that help us learn and grow. Our team has developed a natural reciprocity in our interactions and endeavors that fosters respect and solution building. Marty consistently demonstrates that he wants to learn from each one of us. He has taught us through his innate disposition as a learner the importance of always considering how learning happens in all directions in our schools and district. Marty O'Shea is engaged and present. We can recount countless stories of Marty appreciating in an authentic manner all that we achieve. We is defined as students, parents, teachers, administrators, school committee, and our community at large. We have come to look forward to his presence in our schools and at community events. Students now recognize and understand, even at the elementary level, who the district leader is and the importance of his role in our community. He is engaged in all aspects of our schools, both to understand experiences and to celebrate successes. Marty is all about relationships. His love and passion for his work and for our work with children unmistakably comes from his heart. Leadership demands clarity and focus. Marty approaches his work with us with a steadfastness and consistency that earns confidence and trust. Our first administration retreat with Marty resonates as a meaningful example of a leader who can clearly articulate who he is and what he values. One activity he moved us through was the challenging and reflective exercise of writing our personal mission statements, redefining who we are as leaders and educators. We share Marty's mission statement written July 2016 when he began his journey with us. I am a career educator with a deep commitment to student learning and student well-being and a strong belief in the worth and potential of all. As superintendent, I'm interested in developing safe, high-achieving schools that are efficiently managed. In accomplishing this, I will be guided by a vision and a strategic plan that will be developed and shared by all stakeholders. Together, we will build a professional learning community devoted to continuous improvement, shared decision-making, relational trust, and a relentless focus on what is best for children. We confidently assert that Marty's work with Longmeadow Public Schools is realized in this powerful statement, evident each day with each decision, action, and endeavor. When Marty was rated exemplary by the school committee at the end of last year, we were not surprised. That said, he shares that he hasn't, quote, hit his stride. How remarkable to be considered an exemplary superintendent in your first year leading a school district with high demands like Longmeadow and still reflect on how to continue to learn and grow. Marty leads with vision, intelligence, humility, and a profound commitment to students. Pointedly, Marty's humanity as a leader resonates deeply with us. He is truly a man of compassion, honesty, and integrity, someone whom you implicitly trust with all matters, large and small, and someone you trust to help guide you on the right path when needed in a forthright manner. We realize that the community seldom hears how a leadership team feels about their leader. We come here of our own choosing, and we are grateful for this moment. We expect that our work together as solution builders will continue to grow. We also hope that we amplify moments such as this when our community members articulate and recognize the committed work of our leaders and our educators. Marty O'Shea is our mentor and leader. He has rightly earned our deep respect and admiration. He has re-energized and refocused our team and our district with his passion and vision. We trust this statement articulates why we are concerned and unsettled. We are grateful to the school committee for your time and for your commitment to working for and with us and the Long Meadow community. Respectfully submitted, Thomas Mazza, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, Susan Bertram, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Learning, Jean Fontaine, Director of Pupil Services, Nick George, Director of Technology, Tom Landers, Principal, Long Meadow High School, Nicole Allen, Principal, Glenbrook Middle School, Neil Guile, Principal, Williams Middle School, Amy Bostrom, Principal, Blueberry Hill School, Beth Nelson, Principal, Wolf Swamp Road School, and me, Donna Hutton, Principal, Center Elementary School. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So Kathy, you're next. The only thing I'd like to say is I know you did request to meet with the whole committee. Michelle and I did meet with Sue and Tom. And it was really the open meeting law, so we couldn't figure out a way to meet with all of you, with all of us at the same time. So I hope you understand that. Kathy, thanks.
Good evening. I promise to make this short as I know there is a long list this evening. My name is Kathy Rosato. I am president of the Long Meadow Education Association and represent many of the people that are around you this evening. More importantly, I'm a product of the Long Meadow Public Schools, Center School, Glenbrook Middle School, and 1981 from LHS. That's a good one.
Me too.
There we go.
Not
The LEA Executive Board met this week, and we are very concerned with the recent school committee executive sessions regarding Superintendent O'Shea's contract. The lack of transparency regarding his status as our educational leader has left the membership feeling uneasy about the process. We have noticed the 2 items that have been checked during these sessions. We, as a membership, feel that Dr. O'Shea has been leading the district in a positive educational direction and are concerned that his continued leadership may be in jeopardy, as stated earlier. We would welcome the opportunity to provide input based on our collective many years of educational expertise and believe that our voices should be heard as he is our boss. A change in leadership would negatively impact the learning environment for both staff and students of the Long Meadow Public Schools, past, present, and future. Thank you.
Rebecca Powell, Wolf Swamp teacher.
Hello. My name is
Hi.
Rebecca Powell. I live at 76 Meadowlark Drive. I'm a
Hello.
parent of a Long Meadow graduate, K through 12, who's now in college, and I'm a first grade teacher at Wolf Swamp School.
And I'm Nancy Moriarty. I am a math specialist at Wolf Swamp Road School. My 3 children also went to the Long Meadow Public Schools, and I live at 53 Fairfield Street in Springfield.
Okay, thank you.
A group of Wolf Swamp teachers got together and wrote a letter in support of Superintendent O'Shea. We'd like to read that to you tonight. And we have 70 signatures on our letter. So thank you for your time. Dear members of the school committee, we would like to respectfully make a statement in support of our Superintendent of Schools, Marty O'Shea, for your consideration. At Wolf Swamp Road School, Marty has the support of both veteran staff, some who have been in the district 20 years, and new staff who all feel supported and trust his leadership. He has brought a fresh outlook to the district, listens to our concerns, and truly cares about the important educational and social-emotional issues that impact us and our students. Marty is approachable, accessible, and transparent, all attributes that we value. He is in our building and our classrooms on a regular basis, eager to listen, learn, and support us. He regularly joins our important meetings, school events, and professional development. Marty also offered professional development himself as part of our August PD, something that we have never seen done before by any previous superintendent. He has shown us that he cares about the whole child by supporting staff and parent concerns about current social issues that affect our youth, such as social media usage and addictions, and understands the need for and importance of a social-emotional curriculum at the elementary level. When faced with a difficult decision, he asks thoughtful questions and seeks out the expertise of others who are directly involved as he tries to figure out the best way to respond. Marty sends out regular email communication to keep us updated and informed about what is going on in the district and outside news that impacts our students and our teaching. He is thoughtful and reflective as he tries to make decisions that will impact our curriculum, something that matters deeply to all of us in education. Since the information from the executive sessions has not been made public, we do not know exactly what all of your concerns are and what issues and actions you are discussing, although we know a little bit more now. However, as staff working for Marty at Wolf Swamp Road School, we are very concerned about the actions you may be preparing to take. Please accept this statement as a sign of our strong support for Superintendent O'Shea and his continued leadership over the Wolf Swamp school staff. We ask that you consider our input and look at all possible pathways for resolving your concerns before you make any important decisions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Megan Schwartz. Hi. Hello.
Hi. Megan Schwartz, resident 119 Meadow Lark Drive. I have two students, two children who go to the Wolf Swamp, one at Wolf Swamp, one at Glenbrook. I teach history at the high school and am a member of the department chair committee at Long Meadow High School.
I'm Matt Flanagan. I teach business and technology. I'm the chair of the business and technology department at the high school as well. I live in East Long Meadow.
Hello.
Members of the school committee, we, the members of the department chair council at the high school, write in unanimous support of Superintendent Marty O'Shea. We have been inspired by his leadership, which includes his communication skills, trustworthiness, and support of issues that will have direct impact on Long Meadow children. When Marty was hired, he prioritized not only his visibility in the schools, but also his interest in engaging the staff. Then and now, he listens well, asks useful questions, and always shows appreciation of the good work that is being done. He speaks to us in the hallways, observes our classes, and joins us in professional development work. His earnestness, personable approach, and good humor have contributed to a healthy and positive climate. Of course, this surprised no one who had the privilege to work with Marty when he was employed at the high school, first as a teacher and department chair, then as assistant principal. Then and now, he understands that listening and connecting with people is the foundation for effective communication. We trust he hears us about our successes and our struggles, and because of that, we hear him. In short, he is a great communicator. To use one of his metaphors, we know that we are all rowing the boat in the same direction. He is with us in that boat and working as hard as we are. Not all superintendents are in the boat with their staffs. So what we are really talking about here is trustworthiness. Marty has that quality in abundance. It is not a trait that is easily measurable, but is essential for effective leadership. We trust that he is honest. While we do not always agree with him, we know that he will be upfront, fair, and consistent. We trust in his dependability. We know that he is smart, thoughtful, and reliable. We trust in his integrity. We are confident that he tries to make sound, ethical decisions for the good of the high school and the district. These character traits are the foundation of strong leadership. They allow Marty to do his job well, which is to foster excellence in teaching and learning in Longmeadow Public Schools. Marty was hired to lead and improve an excellent school district. He has supported and introduced policies that do just this. The district improvement plan is loaded with concerns about the social, emotional development of our students. Our professional development days continue to have emphasis on increased cooperation through vertical planning. The Curriculum Leadership Council that he formed will address the gaps in curricular integrity. We trust that he will collect our observations and concerns and translate them into common sense initiatives. To conclude, we are a team of experienced teachers and educator leaders who have worked elsewhere. We love to work here for many reasons. Among them is the professional quality of our administrators, beginning with Marty O'Shea. He inspires us to do our best work. He recognizes us when we've done it, and he celebrates great teaching and learning whenever he sees it. We are proud to work for him. Sincerely, Rita Harker, Chair of the Wellness Department, Mark Cormier, Chair of the English Department, Kayla Werland, Chair of the Music Department, James DeBurn, Chair of the Science Department, Matt Flanagan, Chair of the Business Department, Deb Callahan, Chair of the Art Department, Kathleen E. Paul, Chair of World Language Department, Donna Lyons, Director of Counseling Department, Meredith Laughlin, Chair of the Math Department, Jennifer Lynch, Supervisor Public Services and Academic Support, and I, Megan Schwartz, Chair of the Social Studies Department. Thank you.
Kate Mard is next. Hello.
Hi. My name is Kate Mard, and I live at 19 Loren Street here in Longmeadow. I have a daughter who graduated from the high school. I have a son who is about to come up to the high school, and I'm very excited to have him come here and reap the rewards. It's an honor and a privilege to work here. I teach life skills at the high school, so the students that I have are differently abled. They have amazing, different capabilities. They're appreciated and honored each and every day for that. And they are part of an inclusive environment where all students are welcome and all students can participate. And to have an environment that is inclusive, it starts from the top down. And our superintendent, Marty O'Shea, has visited our classroom on many occasions. He has a personal relationship with each of the students that I teach. He knows them by name. They know who he is. He has made it a point to develop a relationship with them. That example that he sets for everybody within our schools and our district is to be commended. And Marty, I just wanted to say that I truly appreciate that. And our students appreciate that. Their families appreciate that. And if you were not here extending that hand to us, we would feel a gaping hole. Thank you.
Hi, all.
Hello.
You know, you all know me because I don't like doing this. I'm the one that wants to sit in the back. But first, dear school committee, I'd like to thank you all.
State your name, Diane.
My
do know
name's
you, but-
Diane Gigantis. I'm the administrative assistant to the superintendent.
Thanks.
First, I want to thank you all for doing a very difficult job of serving on the school committee. I know it's difficult because I've been sitting in my chair working with school committees for over 10 years. As most of you know, I've worked with the town of Longmeadow for 23 years, the school department for 17. I've worked with 5 superintendents, the last 4 as their administrative assistant. During Marty's time here, he's taken on all that the school committee has asked of him. He has handled many difficult situations, and he does it with decorum and professionalism. He is thoughtful in all that he does. His leadership is something this district truly needs. And he came back to Longmeadow because he really wants to be here. I wholeheartedly offer my support and respect to Marty O'Shea. The students are why we are all here doing this work. Having Marty O'Shea as Longmeadow's superintendent is right. I strongly urge this school committee to work with him to build bridges, resolve any conflicts that you all may have, improve your communication with each other, and move forward working together to keep your eyes on the child learning.
Paul. Hello.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to address the school committee. I'm Paul Dunkerley. I live at 232 Kenmore Drive here in Longmeadow. I'm the assistant principal at Longmeadow High School, and I'm the parent of 2 children who have benefited from their time at Longmeadow Public Schools. They're both at colleges right now, doing very well because they were well prepared by many of the people who sit in this room. So almost 16 years ago, I was hired as a math teacher by Karen Shea, Larry Birdie, and Marty O'Shea. Marty may not remember that interview, but I do. He asked good questions, and when I left that interview, I thought I had done well. Apparently it worked out. But I said, I want to work for this man because he knows what he's talking about. He understands. So when he came back to this district, I was more than thrilled. I've been really fortunate working here at the Longmeadow Public Schools for a whole host of reasons, but among those are the people who have mentored me. Larry Birdie, Tom Landers, and Marty O'Shea. So at this point, I'd like to just take a few moments to let the committee know and the community know what it is that I think about Marty O'Shea and why I think he is a first-rate superintendent. And I'm going to start with something called calm leadership. We are often besieged by difficult situations that are full of emotion. Marty is always calm. He never panics, nor does he get overly emotional. He's always on an even keel and in control of the situation. That begets calm on the part of the teachers and everyone around him, and always helps us to yield the best result. He thinks things through thoroughly and logically. He's never rash, nor does he ever shoot from the hip. He does a great job of involving stakeholders and understands who are the most knowledgeable and experienced people in certain areas and seeks their input in order to come to the best decision that he can. He communicates clearly and in a timely fashion. He is honest and transparent in everything he does. He's approachable, and somehow, and don't ask me how, but somehow, he's always able to find the time for anyone who wants to see him. He listens carefully and gives people his absolute full attention. He has no personal agenda. For him, it's very simple. It's all about making the best decision for our kids. Marty O'Shea has earned my trust as an educational leader for all the reasons above and more. And it is my hope that I will be able to end my career, which is not ending in the next 2 or 3 years, but hopefully in about 9 or 10, working for Marty in the Longmeadow Public Schools. Because he's good for our kids, he's good for our teachers, and he is good for Longmeadow. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lori Snyder. I'm a town resident. I live at 29 Elmwood Avenue. I'm also a parent of a center school 5th grader. I have taught social studies at Longmeadow High School for 22 years. During this time, I have served as District Social Studies Coordinator, Department Chair of Social Studies, East Asia Club Advisor, Longmeadow Takikawa Exchange Program Director, and most importantly, as a classroom teacher. I have received the Grinspoon Award and the Elgin Heinz Award, a U.S.-Japan Foundation National Award for Excellence in Teaching. Throughout my career, I have worked with Dr. O'Shea in numerous capacities. He was a social studies teacher when I began working in Longmeadow. He moved on to be my department chair and later my direct supervisor in his role as assistant principal. I wrote one of his letters of reference for his first job as a principal, and I participated in multiple interviewing team visits. It is not often that I speak directly to this community and to school committee, but in this situation, I feel compelled to do so. Let me be clear about a few of Dr. O'Shea's positive attributes. He is an active listener, thoughtful, deliberate, and reflective. He is not inclined to be impulsive or take rash actions. He is a bridge builder and works well in collaborative and team settings. He is not a top-down decision maker, but is definitive in his decision making. He is a true intellectual and researches answers when tackling new or unfamiliar topics. He looks to leaders in special education, educational law, and curriculum to help inform him and shape policy. He is without pretense, humble, unassuming, and self-deprecating. At the same time, he will stand and fight for what is right. When I was a new teacher more than 20 years ago, he was one of the few males supportive in an environment pervasive with sexism. He actively encouraged me to seek out both the district social studies curriculum coordinator and department chair positions at a time when such positions were historically held by men. When I was a new department chair, he encouraged me to hire candidates who loved working with children more than their subject matter. There has been more professional development focusing on our children's social and emotional well-being in the last year and a half under Marty's direction than in the previous 20 years. Are these not the qualities that this community wants for our schools and our children? I have worked closely with 5 different superintendents and have watched numerous school committees come and go. I find it hard to believe that anyone would have difficulty working professionally with Dr. O'Shea. Speaking as a parent and a Longmeadow voter, there is no alternative but for me to question where the perception of Dr. O'Shea's incompatibility with Longmeadow Public Schools has come from. I would like to believe that I live in a community where decisions are made based on transparent, fact-based evidence and not merely on perception. Dr. O'Shea's career is built on the pillars of the pursuit of academic excellence, coupled with a holistic humanity that promotes the social-emotional learning of all students. His career began as a teacher in Longmeadow, a curriculum coordinator in Longmeadow, a department chair in Longmeadow, and an assistant principal in Longmeadow. I ask you, what better person is there to lead as our superintendent in Longmeadow? In sum, there is no finer superintendent than the one we currently have. Thank you.
My name is Carol Daigle. I live at 18 Pioneer Drive. I have the unique position of having actually been in those seats with where you sit now. I've even served with some of you on this committee many years ago. And it was being on this committee that drove me to become a teacher from a career in engineering. So I come at this position from a very different place than a lot of other people. You received a letter in your packages, I hope today, I don't know if you did, that was sent by the high school, but I wanted to make sure it got read into the minutes today. So, to whom it may concern, wake up. Wake up. I love technology. It's, come on, wake up. Of course it's going to happen now. The letter basically spoke to the fact that Marty, as a leader, what you've heard said before, has brought parents, teachers, students together to make decisions. It speaks to the fact that he has, over the course of time since he's been here, taken us from a leadership and directionless district towards having a sense of where we want to go. It's easy for a district like Longmeadow to rest on its laurels, to sit back and say, we've got great parents, we've got great kids, we don't need anything more. The way we maintain excellence is by continuing to look to the future. Marty has provided direction and has provided leadership that looks to the future. Having sat in your seats, I understand that you can't discuss executive session items. That's fair, it's as it should be, it's what we all want as employees. However, there's a double-edged sword to that. It leads to questioning whether or not the decisions are being made fairly. I understand the position you're in. It is difficult. All I can say from the perspective of where we sit, Marty has provided a safe environment for learning. He has brought about technology, he has looked to the future, he has brought in new ideas in teaching, new ideas in technology that are focused on the student and on learning and on learning as individuals and as teachers. He has helped us look to the kids and keep our focus where it needs to be. So in summary, I think it's really important for us to understand that we as a staff really support I'm really good in front of kids, I'm terrible in front of adults. We really support Marty. And ultimately, I truly hope that you can come to see that this is the man that we need, and I hope you support us as we move forward. Thank you.
Next up is Ms. Palazzi.
I couldn't get my speech to print. Anyway, my name is Karen Palazzi. I'm a resident at 50 Claremont Street. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Center School and the mother of 2 children who graduated from the Longmeadow Public Schools. The following thoughts are also shared by many of my Center School colleagues who are here tonight. I find Marty to be an effective, authentic, competent, and supportive leader. He clearly demonstrates effective leadership, which one definition states is the art of motivating a group of people to act towards achieving a common goal. One of those goals is that through academic learning, we will nurture highly motivated and independent students who approach learning with enthusiasm, critical thinking, creativity, and perseverance. Another goal is being a safe, child-centered environment where our students grow as responsible and respectful members of their learning community. Marty is easily approachable and visible. His excellent rapport with staff is exhibited by his positive communication and sense of humor. I have witnessed his interactions with children to be genuine, warm, friendly, and caring. He continually recognizes, inspires, and compliments our hardworking staff. He is supportive of flexible ideas, thinking, and empathetic and understanding of the pressures we face with new curriculum. He is always willing to listen and respond respectfully to staff ideas, questions, and/or concerns. Please know that all of Marty's attributes listed above compelled me to speak this evening as the longest-serving member, which, by the way, is 40 years and 6 superintendents of the Long Meadow Public School System.
Ms. Joyce?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Maura Joyce, and I live at 51 Duxbury Lane. My husband and I have lived in Longmeadow for 20 years. We are parents of 3 Longmeadow Public School graduates. My husband is in his 13th season as a Longmeadow High School hockey coach. I am a library media specialist in the district, primarily at Blueberry Hill. It is my role as a teacher that I will read this prepared statement on behalf of my colleagues at Blueberry Hill. We, as members of Blueberry Hill School, agree that Superintendent O'Shea has been receptive to and actively involved in honest discourse on several occasions with the staff at Blueberry Hill. Specifically, Dr. O'Shea led a principal search that was both professional and transparent. Dr. O'Shea has been highly visible in our building, attending events and assemblies. During our recent flood, Marty was present on numerous occasions, offering assistance and support to the many teachers and students who were displaced. He has been a true colleague, leader, and advocate, participating in all facets of district collaboration. This is a relationship that has contributed to increased levels of morale, a positive approach to academic and social emotional instruction, and a belief that we truly are working towards a shared vision. Thank you.
Ms. Cosgrove? Jen Cosgrove? I don't see her here. Oh, there she is.
The wrong entrance.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Jen Cosgrove. I live at 18 South Park Avenue, and I'm a parent of a student at Williams, 7th grader, and a longtime school volunteer. One of the many people sitting in the overflow room, and appreciate having the opportunity to listen to the proceedings. First, let me just say that I didn't know what to expect when I walked into the meeting, but am completely blown away by the teacher and staff support and administrative support that has shown up here, and the very moving comments that you have all made. Just, it really does blow my mind, and I'm sure the mind of a number of other parents. One thing I wanted to say is, when I came in here is thank you all. I do really appreciate the hard work that you're doing, and I appreciate that it's a very difficult job, very difficult job. I watched the recent budget hearing, and after watching that hearing and seeing the hard work that you were putting into trying to achieve consensus on the budget, the questions you were asking, the way that things were going, I had a good feeling. I have a very good feeling about the school improvement, the district improvement plan and the school improvement plan, and have had very positive feelings about that. So that's why it was particularly jarring for me, and I'm sure many other parents, to find out rather suddenly that perhaps things weren't as it seems from our perspective, just in public forums or public meetings, that the school committee and Superintendent O'Shea were actually working well together, or maybe seeing eye to eye. We certainly, I mean, it's still evident that you all care about our children and common district goals and the like, but to hear that tensions had reached essentially a breaking point, and that to be the first news of it was very jarring. I guess I would just wrap up by saying that, I'm glad to hear that you had an overwhelming number of emails and phone calls and all people taking note and paying attention. I assume many of those people were like me, who were writing in support of Dr. O'Shea, just based on interactions with him in small group settings like the Williams PAC, which he takes the time to attend and to, listen to our concerns and to answer our questions. The School Improvement Council I'm a member of, and, of course, he was there also showing up and answering questions. The role he played in ushering in a new principal during a very difficult time for Williams families and staff. So I just wanted to say, based on what I know, I'm very supportive. And I also want to just say, thank you all for a very difficult job. But just that juxtaposition of finding out that there's a sharp contrast between what things appear when, from all intents and purposes, you're able to produce a budget and work on some very tough projects, but yet things are below the surface, are very problematic. I would hope that we could somehow learn of something like that, of that gravity, before it reached a head.
So that was the list we had for public comment. Before we get to school committee comment, I do want to add, kind of going forward, what you might see, so that you're not confused or concerned. So the way any process works, if a committee wants to talk to a superintendent or another administrator about issues, as Ms. Daigle said earlier, most of the time that will be executive session. So I think, Marty would have the opportunity to do it publicly, but sometimes those type of conversations they're not the same if you do it in front of a group of people. Sometimes you have to do it in executive session, and that's certainly the right of whoever the complaint is made about. So the fact that they're labeled a certain way, I guess I want to make the point that that's the way they have to be labeled. So whether we're having a productive conversation or an unproductive conversation, it's going to be labeled the same way for the purposes of postings. That's why these things seem to be kind of out of the blue. I mean, it's unfortunate that that's the way the law is, but there's no category under the law for let's go have a conversation with our administrator about things we want to discuss that might not be, perfect. So you're probably going to see that again. That doesn't mean, nobody should jump to a conclusion that means, this is something dramatic's going to happen right after that meeting. That's really not the way these things work. So like I said before, the committee was at a point where we were going to do a performance evaluation. I know the postings don't look like that. I know that I think Marty and the committee maybe didn't completely understand each other on some of those points, which I think we're going to try and do better with going forward. So I think that's really important to keep in mind, because it's not that, obviously the parties need to have more conversation. And we should do that periodically anyway. So I think that's just important to keep in mind when we go forward. Is there anything the committee members want to say? This is when we usually do announcements, not just on this type of talk, but anything in general. Michelle, you're all set too? Did we lose her?
I just want to say thank you.
No, I'm here. I'm all set. Thanks, Dawn.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came out tonight. I know how hard it is to get in front of that microphone and speak from your heart. And it means a lot to all of us. It means a lot to me. And it means a lot to hear all of your experiences. So thank you so much for coming tonight and for sharing your stories and all the specific examples of your interactions and all of the good things that are going on in the district. Thank you.
Reggie?
So there's been a lot of like teachers and administration here in support of Mr. O'Shea or Dr. O'Shea, but from a student perspective, I really enjoyed talking to Dr. O'Shea. When I first ran for this position, he called me down, he sat me down for a meeting, and he really asked me why I wanted this position and what I wanted to do with it. And I know as like a leader, those are the types of things you want to do and you want to challenge other people to do around you. So I know a lot of kids in the high school love Dr. O'Shea, and we love to keep him as superintendent. So.
Thanks.
I too just want to make a few comments. I do want to thank everybody in the room for coming, those of you who not only spoke, but those of you who are showing your support. I think I would expect nothing less as a Long Meadow resident. I have 3 children in the district. This is why I live here. This is why you work here. This is why you teach here, and this is why I serve on this committee. I think personally, I'm not going to speak on behalf of the whole committee, but for myself, this is why I do this. It's not just for my 3 kids, it's for every kid in this district. So it's every kid that goes K through 12, it's every kid in the collaborative, it's every kid in out-of-district placement. My colleagues and myself make decisions based on what's good for the district, and I know many of you in the room. I know a good deal of you. You've taught my kids, you've coached my kids. I'm so grateful for that. My hope is we can all always have that same collaborative thinking when we come together and move forward as a group. It's so important to the district. I just feel like that's what needs to happen as a community. It can't be anything negative at this time. We need to move forward. I appreciate everybody's comments. I'm grateful for you coming out, and I'm proud to serve on this committee.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. So our next item, business with guests. Do we have any guests today? No. Other than all of you. Any official guests? Yeah, why don't we take a 5-minute break? Hello, we're back. The next item of business is the FY19 budget discussion and vote. Marty, you want to briefly present the 3 options?
You want that last slide?
Yeah, I think for tonight, so we've already reviewed this budget a few times, and we also, Superintendent O'Shea and I, administration, Tom, Sue, myself, and Michelle, attended a finance committee meeting. And so based on that meeting, it appears that we could do the recommended budget that was presented by the administration without cutting another 100,000 and still get to the 2.3% levy amount, so tax amount. So because of that, it kind of changes our discussion a little bit. I think really what we're looking at is we can do the budget that we were hoping to do and still meet the town's request to stay at 2.3%. So I wanted to give you that additional piece of information and see if anybody had anything they wanted to add.
Is that because of the extra money that it looks like we'll be getting through the governor's budget?
Appears that way. Yeah. I don't know if there's any other factor besides that.
No, I think the only piece that they were still waiting on is going to be the health insurance increase, which they expect to get sometime later this month. I don't remember the exact date that that vote is scheduled to occur, but I think they feel comfortable with their assumption that they'll be pretty close to the vote that Scantic Valley takes.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think we're, again, this year, and I think the last couple of years, we've been able to get to a budget that works for the town, works for us. It, probably not ideal, but it's not a bad budget. I'll reiterate my concern about next year, but, you know, there's always a concern about next year, I guess, so. Anybody else have any questions before we vote? Michelle, anything?
I don't have any questions. I am ready to vote.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's-
am I
Sure.
allowed to vote?
No.
I don't believe so, no.
Sorry.
But you can tell us your thoughts.
You can if you want, it just doesn't count. But you can vote.
Okay.
Do you have anything?
No,
on
no,
that? No. Okay. So we have a recommended motion if somebody wants to make it.
You got it?
Go ahead.
I move that the school committee approve the FY 2019 proposed school department budget in the amount of $36,890,904 with a general fund allocation of $34,344,235 and submit this amount to the town manager for inclusion at the 2019 annual town meeting, Tuesday, May 8th, 2018.
Second.
Okay, and again, this would be a roll call vote.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Yeah, Stephanie just mentioned it should be 2018
town meeting.
annual town meeting. So
Did I say 2018?
It's on.
it's on there, but Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Baer and I.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the 2017-2018 school calendar and makeup days. And this is related to the issue that we had with the boilers and center school.
Right, so there's a memo in your packet regarding the makeup days. And so to bring everyone sort of up to speed on that, we have, with the facility issues at Wolf Swamp and Center, we're in a position where we have 3 different end dates for our 6 schools. So obviously that creates some awkwardness for us as educators, and it would be difficult, obviously, for families if they have children in multiple schools. So we're trying to even that out. And so if we made no adjustments, Longmeadow High, Glenbrook, Williams, and Blueberry Hill would conclude on Wednesday, the 20th. Wolf Swamp would conclude on Thursday, the 21st, and Center's last day would be Friday, June 22nd. So I also provided you with some explanation of the Department of Education's position relative to student learning time. And they have historically been sort of locked into that days that are lost, even if they're lost due to emergencies, facility-related emergencies, have to be made up to ensure a 180-day school year. And they offer some ways that can be achieved. We don't have a lot of flexibility given DESE's current position on that. So after considerable discussion, we thought that it would make sense to recommend that we make up one day at Wolf Swamp and one day at Center by rescheduling the March 9th full day of professional development from a half day or to a half day of professional development and a half day of instruction for students and staff. So that would get Wolf Swamp back on track with the other 4 schools, and it would give Center a chance to make up one of the 2 days that it lost when the heat went down. So March 9th, again, would be a half day of PD and a half day of instruction for Center in Wolf Swamp. The other schools would go on with March 9th being a full day of professional development. So that would take care of one day, and I can stop there if you want, or I can kind of continue through the recommendation. Keep going. So the other piece of
Marty,
this.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So Wolf Swamp then wouldn't, in that scenario, they could then end on the 20th, is that correct?
They could then end on the 20th, like Long Meadow, High Glen.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that half-day would qualify.
It would count, yes, yeah,
And I'll just ask real quickly, so making up a half-day suffices a full-day
yes,
requirement?
Yes.
Like any other?
like any other half-day, yeah. Now, we've talked, even around this table, we've talked about, that it would be probably most advantageous to make up the lost time sort of incrementally, and that would be if we were to add time to existing days. The Department of Education has a sort of a standing policy of not allowing that, which, in our view, I think it doesn't make a lot of sense, because we think that instructional time, sort of pre-MCAS, is a lot more valuable than instructional time tacked on at the end of the year in June. So what I would ask the committee tonight, it would be to authorize us to write a letter to the Massachusetts Department of Education, asking if we could make up that other day at center using that incremental approach by adding time to existing school days. Now, I'm not optimistic, frankly. There's a acting commissioner in place, and the new commissioner, I'm not sure when he's taking office, but
July.
is it July 1?
yeah.
Yeah, so chances are the acting commissioner will just sort of kick this can down the road and say, we'll leave that decision for the new commissioner. But we'd like to ask the question to see if we could make up that one day at center by adding time to existing days. If the Department of Education permits that, we would then have to work with families and the LEA to figure out when and how to do that. So it's sort of the beginning of the discussion, not the end of it, because we would have to come up with an arrangement that makes sense for families and works for our staff as well. So those are the sort of the two-part recommendation.
So
Yeah.
center school has 2 days to make up.
Correct.
And they have no more professional days left this year.
Correct. We would tap into that for PD Day on March 9th for one of the days, but there's none after that.
Oh, I see. This says to make up 1 day at Wolf Swamp and 1 day at center school.
Correct.
Okay, so then that would only leave 1 day at center school.
Yeah.
They would be Thursday.
So we would,
I just forgot my question. Oh, does it have to be, it has to be this calendar year, this school year?
yes, yeah. It's, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just quickly, for, as far as hours that you would have to make up if you were trying to get them incrementally, could you do it as though it was a half day and only make up the 4 hours, or would you have to make up the whole 6 hours?
Not sure I understand. So would we have to?
So you know how you can count a half day
Right.
as a makeup day?
Yes.
As far as when you were requesting hours, would that be the same? You could request.
Would it be the full day,
Oh,
6
like, in other words,
hours?
would
or-
it be 6 hours?
Yeah, versus like,
I think we
It's really
probably.
3
would-
hours.
We probably would want to, I think to make a compelling case, if they're interested in our case, I think we probably would pitch it as sort of hour for hour.
Okay.
6 hours lost, we would tack on 6 hours to existing days.
Got it.
But, yeah.
Oh, Beth?
I just wanted to say I like this proposal. I appreciate the fact, and I think parents will also appreciate the fact that we're trying to avoid cutting into any type of February or April vacation. My only question would be, has there been any thought given to what if DESE says no to the proposal? Then are we looking to maybe just revert to the center school being the one school that has the extra day and they end at a different time than everybody else?
I think we just
idea?
we would have to add on at the end of the year unless, we were interested in tapping into April vacation. Yeah, that would be the only real opportunity.
that was my question.
Yeah.
Beth asked the same question. You said March 9th?
March
That's a
9th.
professional day.
What about March?
Hold on 1 second, Jess. Let Karen enter.
Oh, sorry, Karen.
Now I totally forgot my question. Oh, this is assuming we don't have any more snow days.
Correct.
Okay, so then we would have to figure out a new plan if we were.
Because that would potentially push us to,
We still got enough time.
yeah, we could
Center
have-
is at its 5, I think.
But I mean, we have till
could have
30th.
Oh, we have
Yeah,
till
you
June
would just
30th.
push
Okay.
it.
Not that we'd ever want to do that, but, so I'll add one more piece to that, which really goes along with what you were asking. So it's, you have the days and then the hours that you have to meet. So I had asked Superintendent O'Shea, we need to check the hours to make sure the half-day idea is going to work.
So you have to have, in addition to 180 days, you need 900 hours of instruction at the elementary level. So our administrative mathematician, Beth Nelson, did the calculation with Diane. We would surpass that 900-hour requirement. Frankly, there are years where it's a little, it's close. Part of it depends on how you measure that 900-hour requirement. Like recess is factored out. Now, we've talked around here about how recess is an integral part of learning, and so you probably can make a case that recess is part of the learning day. So it's part of it's the assumptions that go into the calculation.
And we look at the same thing with the extra incremental few minutes a day. We'd have to make sure that worked out too.
Correct.
There's no way they're going to agree to that, but I agree with the concept. But I don't see the state giving us flexibility.
We're not too optimistic, I would. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jess.
Can I just ask Donna a question, if you don't mind? Do you guys have the same half-days on the 15th and the 16th of March for conferences that Blueberry has? I just wondered if that was something that might be like where you could, I don't know, I don't want to speak for your staff, but I'm just trying to think of any way to not tack on an extra day for you guys at the end of the year, because it's brutal. If there's some flexibility there with scheduling conferences, that was just my only question.
You want to?
Well, I guess I would be concerned that they wouldn't count that as another calendar day. So they'd have to approve the incremental approach to use that half day, if that makes sense.
So even if we cancel the parent conferences
Right.
and use that for instructional time, it doesn't give us one more day. It gives us a few more hours, it gives us 3 more hours, but it doesn't give us another day towards the 180.
But it would give you a full day. What am I missing? It would give you a full day
Because
versus a
the other
half
one was,
day.
the other one was a half day, but it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
So that half day already counts
I
as one of our
see.
180.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, we've tripped ourselves up on that several times as well.
Thank you.
So anyone want to make a motion?
Well, I think we have to have some sort of backup plan, though, based on what Marty's saying about the chances of us. I guess our backup plan is the extra day.
Yeah.
At the end of the
That's
year.
it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you wouldn't have to vote on that because that's already
Okay.
sort of included in the calendar that you've approved long ago.
And that would be a half day then?
The
For-
last day has always been a half day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we making a motion to approve this whole plan, or to allow Marty to?
I would do the whole
Contact
plan,
us.
because even the PD day,
So there's no motion on our agenda. I move that we approve the 2017 school calendar and makeup days as proposed by Superintendent Marty O'Shea.
Second.
Roll call.
Oh, Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle,
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Barron, aye.
Thank you. Superintendent report.
No report. I would want to plug one date, and I'm going to ask someone to help me out with this. We have scheduled a speaker to come to the community from Mass Kids.
Yep.
And help me out soon.
March 26th.
March 26th.
7 o'clock in the
Long Meadow
auditorium.
High School
Yep.
Auditorium.
Yep.
And the speaker would come to speak to the community about sexual awareness and how parents can talk to their children in developmentally appropriate ways about issues relating to boundaries and consent and sexual health. So we're looking forward to that. We put the date out once, but we'll get the community more information on that as well. I want to thank Sue for pulling that together in short notice, so thank you so much. Looking forward to that. Diane, if you could help me out, the school attending children report.
I was looking for it this morning, earlier today, and I couldn't come up with it. But I can report
Yeah, so we can send you the enrollment data. I would say to you that we're watching kindergarten enrollments for the 18-19 school year. We have more registrations right now than we typically have at this time of year. So we'll keep you posted if that continues to put pressure on staffing. Right now, we're okay, but it's something that we're watching, so.
So in that case, we'd have to revisit our budget discussion. No way to really do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll depend on what schools the enrollment is, the distribution of them amongst the 3 elementaries, and so we'll
Okay.
keep an eye on it and report back probably in a month or two through Finance Sub.
Okay, sounds good. Michelle, I'm assuming no school committee chair report?
I do not have one tonight.
Student rep report? Great.
There's one thing, for the humanitarian trip, we have a group going tomorrow to see if that's something we'd like to pursue, and we talked to the student government about it, and we might be getting like a survey out to students sometime soon. That's it.
Okay, good, thank you. Next, we have subcommittee reports. First one's Finance Subcommittee. I already mentioned that we met with the Town Finance Committee. The enrichment report?
So back in October, Finance Sub received a presentation from Stacy Smith, who is the enrichment coordinator for the district. Stacy usually comes. She most certainly was willing to come tonight, but instead we included the packet in your packet where all of the reports. There's a wide breadth of information, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, or we most certainly could bring Stacy back if you felt it was necessary based on the information. But overall, it operated financially in the black. Participation seemed to be where we expected it to be, both in the summer program and the after-school enrichment.
Yeah, I would add she's really done a good job, getting the budget stable, and the last few years, I think it's looked really good, so. Policy Subcommittee?
Policy met this morning. We went over our homeschooling policy. It's clear it needs revision. We started on that. We're going to meet on it again. I think we meet on the 28th in 2 weeks. And we'll continue with that. We also spoke about the substance abuse verbal screening requirement, and we're looking to have Shelley Warren come and speak, and Paul McNeil from Close, so we can move forward with that.
Thank you. Operations Subcommittee did not meet. Any other reports? Nope. New business, we have a number of field trip requests, so we could walk through those. The first one is Long Meadow High School has a preliminary overnight field trip for your consideration. Initial approval provides the coordinator the approval to solicit prices from the vendor. And if somebody could make that first motion.
Sorry. Go ahead. I move that the school committee approve the preliminary request to secure prices and make arrangements for students from Long Meadow High School to travel to Sweden in April 2019.
Second.
Start with you, Karen.
Oh, sorry, Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Barron, aye.
So next we have overnight field trips. They're all from the Long Meadow High School, and we could walk through those motions as well.
Okay. I move that the school committee approve the overnight field trip request for students in the Key Club to travel to Springfield, Mass. to participate in the New England District of Key Club Convention in April 2018.
Second.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Barron, aye.
I move that the school committee approve the overnight field trip request for students in lyrics to travel to New York for rehearsals and performance at Carnegie Hall in April 2018.
Second.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Barron, aye.
I move that the school committee approve the overnight field trip request for students in lyrics to travel to Boston, Mass. to participate in the All-State Music Festival, March 1st through March 3rd, 2018.
Second.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Baron, aye.
I move that the school committee approve the overnight field trip request for Longmeadow High School French students to travel to Switzerland and France in April 2018.
Second.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Baron, aye.
Okay, and the last item we have is an executive session, and the recommend,
Russ, I had taken that off the agenda, all of it.
even for Unit A?
Yes, both. She
Okay,
took both.
okay. All right, so we do not have an executive session at all. So anyone have a motion to adjourn?
I can move.
Do it.
I move to adjourn the school committee meeting of February 14, 2018.
Second.
Karen Moore and I.
Jess Hutchins, aye.
Melanie Rothstein, aye.
Michelle Grotzky, aye.
Russell Dupre, aye.
Stephanie Jasmine, aye.
Beth Baron, aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Michelle,
Aye.
our next meeting is the 28th, right?
Yes, that is correct.
It's 6:30, Diane? Okay, I just wanted to make